and we find a lot of our brothers and sisters arguing about things in the past. And I'm like, well, we have a hard time agreeing on the history of 10 years ago. It's very hard to identify and agree with 10 years ago. We could say, okay, we can look at a 10-year span and the history of that 10-year span or what happened within that 10 years. We can disagree, and it may be a difference of opinion with just within 10 years. And we spend so much time arguing about things that happened thousands of years ago. Now, how can we come to some consensus on what happened thousands of years ago? There's not one human being on the planet that was alive during that time. No one has a eyewitness experience of 10,000 years ago, but we argue and we debate about 10,000 years ago, and we can't even agree on what happened 10 years ago. It seems like intellectual self-satisfaction, masturbation of this intellectual discord. We want to argue how much can I remember, how much I can know, and it does nothing for our real community. It does nothing for the solution-based aspect of life. And our addiction to these lower frequencies, our addiction to drama, our addiction to finding problems, it limits us from solutions. And that addiction means that even finding solutions or even speaking about solutions doesn't really gravitate to people. It doesn't grab their attention. We're normally grabbed by this idea of finding problems. We like, oh, you're right. I never thought about that. You're right. And we tap into these problems and we stick with these problems. And we like to hear about it because it's easy. It doesn't require any work. I can scroll through my phone. I can find somebody talking about these problems that exist and I can relate, and then I'll keep scrolling and go to the next thing. But if I come across a solution-based video or a solution-based topic, now I'm required to stop scrolling, get up and do something, sign up for something, show up for something and do work. And the work is not appealing. We rather sit back, have intellectual discord and talk about all the problems in the world, and very rarely do we tap into the solutions. And the solutions are very simple. It's about changing self, mastering self, turning within. And in sports, they call it like a hockey assist. So if you make a pass to a person and then they make another pass to another person and that person scores, they call it a hockey assist. I say that self-work is the ultimate hockey assist. If you turn within and you do the self-mastery, that will set you up to do whatever else it takes to then make or fix any solution or any trauma or any drama or any problem you have in life. But it starts within, that ultimate hockey assist of fixing within, turning into self. And we see people going through these intellectual journeys, and being a person that has been through that myself, you kind of find it disingenuous to tell people, man, stop reading all of that and just do the work. Right? Because we have to go through that journey of gaining knowledge. But at some point, we have to apply the knowledge. We have to do the work. And the work starts within. I always say, when my goal was to change the world, I saw all the ugly in it. When my goal was to change myself, I saw all the beauty in it. Because it was a change in perspective. So these things that we might look at as problems, then able to see that that is an opportunity to solve something within self besides the world. Like, I can fix something within self because I have an issue with that reality. And if I can fix that, and if I can change self and I can heal self, then I could be a living example to others. And then you can help one other person who can then help another person. And then that is how things make change. This idea of this changing the world with this great idea, or changing the world with the speech, it comes from a good place, but it also comes from a level of not really being in touch with reality or not really focused on the work. Change yourself, turn within. That's the real work. And that's the things people don't want to do. They rather find the problems with things and talk about the problems and read about the history and debate about scientific facts about things. And you know, like if you're from a neighborhood and you're from a city and you drive, you might not know the exit name, you might not know the exit number, but you know how to get to that place. Now, a new person, you got to give them the exit name, you got to give them the exit number. They need directions. They're not familiar with that. Same thing with knowledge of self and understanding this science of self and the science of spirituality. People that just coming into it, they want to read, they need that information, they need to know X, Y, Z, they want it from a scientific perspective. But when you spend time with self, I mean, the directions don't matter. You know how to get there. You know how to work with the energies within. You don't need to know the name and the actual frequency of it and the color of it and all of that. You know how to work within it, and it comes with experience. That's the wisdom. And we have 4 paths, 4 cycles in this science. It's the cycle in the path of knowledge. Then we have the cycle in the path of application, of doing the work. Then there's a path of selfless service, like this karmic giving of self, doing things without wanting or expecting something from it. And then we have this cycle of devotion. All human beings must go through those 4 cycles. And we should not get stuck in just this cycle of knowledge. At some point, we have to apply the knowledge and stop gaining more knowledge and just apply it. And from there, we gain wisdom. And then from there, we can go into this selfless service where we can now give of ourselves because we've done the work within. We've spent time within. Now we can just give and just give and just give without looking for any rewards, just giving. Not to say that rewards don't come, but you're just not looking for the reward. You're not attached to the outcome of the service that you give. And then from there, there's times of just devotion, devoting time to self, devoting time to the spirit within. And devotion and selfless service, there's nuances to make that difference. We must go through these 4 cycles and try not to get stuck on these cycles. The amount of time you spend in each cycle can vary depending on what a person is going through or where they're at in their life. We could talk about those different cycles, how much time you spend there. But it's very important that you must go through all 4 in the science and not get stuck on one. Getting stuck on one will limit our growth. And again, this is all tapping into self-mastery, right? And this idea of like mastering self, it puts our attention more onto impact and less on popularity. How much impact can I make in the world? And not how popular can I be in the world? Because if you're making a lot of impact, popularity comes. Seeing yoga instructors and healers tap about how popular they want to be, how well known they want to be, sometimes can be like, I would love to hear them talk about how much impact they want to make in the world, because with impact comes popularity. Now with popularity, when impact is not the goal, you might compromise your integrity, you might even compromise your wisdom, your knowledge and self just to gain the popularity. But if the purpose is impact, you're not compromising anything. You're stuck on that impact. And yes, that popularity growth might not be at the same trajectory as doing something for fame, but eventually the recognition, being well known, that comes with impact. But focus on your impact. Get this wisdom, get this knowledge, turn within, then give. And in give, try to make an impact on the world. And don't be attached to the amount of impact that you have, how many people you reach. If you reach one person, that's enough. That's enough. But most importantly, reach self. Turn within, fix self. So less talking about how popular we are. Hopefully we could talk about how much impact we can make, because that's the main importance. And impact doesn't really fit well in the algorithm. It doesn't really fit well in the algorithm of solutions, right? Popularity fits in the algorithm of problems, finding problems, talking about problems. That's the thing that we gravitate towards, because it doesn't take work. I don't have to do no work to talk about the problems, but it takes work to talk about solutions. So solution-based conversations very rarely pick up. It's very few people that's out here talking about solutions, because the solution tends to say, just turn within. It's so simple, right? All the knowledge we gain, all the wisdom, all these sciences, spiritual sciences that you're going to read about, and historical documents and, old cultures and what they used to do. The end goal is just remain in a state of peace. When harm and friction comes towards you, you can tap into the divine. Don't be attached to outcomes. So simple, like it's no way that all of this knowledge is about those simplicity. Like, what is that? That's nothing. It's very simple, but it's hard to tell somebody like stop reading and just pick up and just do the work, because they want to go through their own journey, and they have to go through their own journey. So as elders, you have to be able to step back and let people experience life through that way of searching through knowledge and searching through wisdom. This concept, that cycle is very important. But when you get to the end, you'll realize how simple it is. And I read all these books and I watched all these lectures to just come to the conclusion that when I maintain my state of peace, based on anything that I face, I can tap into the wisdom of the divine. Very simple solution. And you have to go through all this information just to get there. But again, I wouldn't want to tell anybody not to go through that journey. That journey is very important. So let's not do that. If you want to tap into an ancient culture, that's fine. If you want to create your new culture, that's fine. Do whatever you want to do. But as long as you turn within and master self and know how to keep your vibrations at a high level, That's how the world changes. When I was focused on changing the world, I saw all the ugly in it. When I was focused on changing myself, I saw all the beauty in it. I hope you get that.